Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Sailing Doodles podcast. I'd like to introduce you to someone here. This is my brother, well, my mom's dog, Murphy. So if you're just listening, he is he's like 12 or 13 weeks old, 14 weeks old, something like that. He's a cock-a-poo. He is absolutely adorable, but he's a little terror already. So that's why I'm up so early. Had to take him outside. Anyway, so I thought I would throw down a podcast for you guys. And ow! And he's a little biter, that sharp little puppy teeth. But he's a pretty sweet little pup. So makes me want to get another dog again. But we'll see how it goes. That's always been the problem of why I haven't gotten more dogs. Is that eventually I'm going to go back across the South Pacific, and it's just really hard to do. There's so many places that don't allow you to bring dogs in and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. But honestly, he's what, 10 pounds right now. He's supposed to get to maybe 15 pounds or something. This would be a pretty manageable dog. You can put him on an airplane. That's always been my thing, is that if I get somewhere and I want to go home for a few weeks, how do I get him or the dog or dogs? You can't just leave him on the boat. But a dog this size, maybe. I've always been a fan of bigger dogs, but he's not bad. So anyway, but okay, so here is what I do with a lot of these podcasts is that I answer questions from our patrons and channel members. And so that's what I'm going to do. I made a post the other day on Patreon and to the channel members, and I'm going to answer all the questions they have. Let's see here. I'll start with, let's see here. Well, all right, we'll start with this one. All right, Pat asks, he is a patron since, let's see here, where is that? October of this year. So thanks, Pat. Is there any update on Stephanie? How is she doing? Last I talked to her was a few months ago. I know she's back in New York going to school, so I don't really know much more than that. Oh, also I wanted to point out, I'm trying out a new camera here. This is the Pocket DJI Osmo Pocket 3. So far I'm really impressed with it. I'm not sure how it works, how well this will end up coming out, but I've been impressed by how well it does in low light and the quality of the image and all that. And I think it's just going to be another tool to make editing and not editing, but filming that much easier. So I'm really looking forward to that. So, all right, Glenn Goodall, that would be a member since March of 22. I know that's not y'all's real name, but a very cheeky question. Are you, Bobby, in a relationship with a very beautiful Amanda? If it's personal, I understand. If you decline the answer, after all, it's personal. We all just want you to be happy. Well, thank you. Yeah, we are dating. So, yes, we are. And then Robert Savage, member since September. You were spending time in Puerto Rico. Do you still maintain a business there? No, I never did maintain a business there. I thought about doing they have the tax incentives, right, to move down there, but it just wasn't worth it. There's so many stipulations that you have to do that really, you have to be making a lot of money before it's worth it, because you have to pay a bunch of fees and stuff like that. And then you have to actually live in Puerto Rico 5 to 6 months a year, depending. So they give you 6 months a year if you don't, but they give you credit for a month if you're outside of the U.S., which wouldn't be a problem. So I would have to be in Puerto Rico 5 months a year, which I really don't want to do. If I'm going to be down in the Caribbean, I'd rather just be sailing around than be in the Caribbean. So I haven't done that. Cavitex says, member since April of 21. I'm going to sail the northeast of Sardinia next summer. Any practical tips, do's and don'ts? It's been so long since I've sailed there that honestly, you can go back and watch those videos when we were in there. I think we weren't in Sardinia very long. We were in Corsica though. I liked Corsica a little bit better. I think it was just a little bit nicer, but it was pretty inexpensive. The food and drink and all that is really cheap. The marinas are expensive there, but yeah. It's been so long though, I don't remember that much about it. But SP Rupert, member since February of 20. If you were starting all over again with Sailing Doodles, what boat would you want to start out with, and what would your goals be? Well, honestly, it's the boat you can afford, right? So the first boat I had, I paid $25,000 for it. That was about all I could afford. That being said, it was a CNC 37, which I I mean, it's a good boat, but it's not really a cruising boat. It's more, they call it like a cruising racer cruiser, whatever. So it didn't carry enough water. It didn't carry enough fuel. It just wasn't, it was more set up to be fast than comfortable. I'd rather have comfort than speed. And that's, that's kind of been my motto. I don't mind not being able to do 10 knots. I'd rather be able to do 6 knots all day, 7 knots all day, but still, have a lot of comfort and all that. So that's that. But that being said, I mean, like, it's just whatever boat you can get, right? I don't know what else would have been in my price range. I mean, this was 2016, so the boat prices weren't as high as they exploded during COVID. They went really high. I think they're coming back down now, but honestly, I mean, yeah, if I could have afforded something like Naughty Dogs, that CT56 they had, I would absolutely have done that. But yeah, I mean, it was just the boat I could afford, and so that's why I picked the CNC 37. John Brookshire, member since April. What kind and how many kilowatt-hour battery systems for the new boat? So it's going to have 2 battery systems. It has the drive system, which is 210 kilowatts. Lithium, I believe that's going to be a higher voltage system. I'm not 100% sure the exact voltage, but I think it's a pretty higher voltage. And, that should be able to run the motors for, anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, depending on how fast we're going, right? If you're going pedal to metal doing 8 knots, it's not going to last that long. But if you roll it back to 6 knots, it'll last probably 12 hours, something like that. The house bank is 25 kilowatts at 24 volts, which is the equivalent of like 2,000 amp hours of lead acid, but really it's the equivalent of like 4,000 because with lead acid, or not lead acid, but AGMs, whatever, traditional batteries, you're not supposed to discharge the batteries more than 50%, right? 60% is better, not more than. They should still, don't draw them down more than 40% or 60% of their capacity, whatever. And that's just to maintain the life of the batteries. Where the lithiums, you can take them down to 10%. So if you have, 2,000, so if you just do the math, right, 25 kilowatts is about the same as 2,000 amp hours, which is a good deal. The most I ever had on a boat was probably around 1,000 amp hours, and that was just fine, lasted no problem. So this is the equivalent of 2,000 amp hours, but you can use more, down to 10%. So it's more like, 4,000 amp hours is the equivalent. So like that's a lot of battery power. Plus there's DC to DC charging between the drive bank and the house bank. So I can have the drive bank charge the house bank, and so then that basically gives me just unlimited use of the batteries. So that'll be nice. I should hardly ever have to run the generator. So let's see here. Chad Leskin, member since March of 18. Long time. Thank you. What kind? Oh, did I just answer that question? Did I do the wrong thing? Oh no. There we go. Chad. There we go. March of 18. There you go. What was the deciding factor on B&G electronics from the new boat? How do you feel they compare to other brands? Was there a second choice option? I think B&G has some of the best software for sailing, for sure. And I really like their products. I've used them a lot in the past. I do not like Ray Marine. Okay, what's up? You want to go? You want down? Okay, don't go over there and mess with the tree, okay? Or do you want to sit there or do you want down? Okay, I think it's all right. And then, I mean, I like Garmin too. I think Garmin's got a good product, but B&G I think is kind of the for sailing and all that has some of the best software for that. Garmin does have good interfaces, among all their products, so that's kind of a nice one too. Chris and Christy, let's see here, member since August of 2019. Any tips on registering a boat from a tax or liability protection point of view? I've heard many different options like registering Delaware or putting in LLC. Yeah, so well, the thing is, if you're going to register it in Delaware, you have to have an address there, so you have to create an LLC in Delaware, which is easy to do. You can just get on LegalZoom or whatever. It costs a couple $100. So from a tax standpoint, yeah. So, for instance, the boat I bought in Florida, I'm registering in Delaware. I mean, I already had the LLC from previous boats, so it's pretty easy to do. And I'm doing a Coast Guard registration on it. So what I had to do is get a cruising permit because the boat's still in Florida right now. So if you buy a boat in Florida, you got to pay sales tax on it, which is, I believe, 6% or it caps at like $16,000. So if you want to avoid that, you can't register it in. But like there's some, like Delaware, for instance, doesn't charge sales tax on boats. So that's why a lot of people register their boats in Delaware. And then, but you have to have some kind of physical presence there, which would be your LLC. So there's that. Now, if you're going to, like, say, if I want to register in Florida, I would have to pay tax on it. But so since my boat is still in Florida, I actually have to get a cruising permit, which I got a 90-day cruising permit in Florida, which means that I can be in Florida for 90 days. I had to pay a couple $100s for the permit, but I have to be out of Florida within 90 days, which I am. I'm leaving in a few days from Florida over to the Bahamas. So, that's not a big deal. But yeah, most states, it's a state thing, unless you're bringing it in from outside the U.S. Then that'd be a different story. Where you have to pay tax, or you have to leave or you have to leave within 90 days. So, all right, Daryl Han, member since October of 20. Thank you. All right, do you want down? Is that what you want? Okay, just don't go after the Christmas tree over there. He's going to tear stuff up. I already had to take him out this morning. I appreciate all you do. Your channel inspired me to get into sailing, like sailing only so far. I've gotten my ASA 104. Nice. That's I believe that's a captain's bareboat certificate there, equivalent there. When you do eventually get your boat, are you going to do patrons on your boat as you cross the Pacific? Yeah, I was thinking about that. We may need to like offset some costs on the boat because like it's a pretty expensive boat, and so I was thinking about doing something like that. Like people could lease out a cabin for a little while we sail around or something like that. So I'll do something like that for sure. And then during the flotillas, I'll also, invite a patron or two on the boat to stay with us. So for sure, like we already did with the other flotillas. So yes. All right, Jorge, what's up, man? A member since May of 22. Has Amanda given you any advice on film production? She seems to be quite experienced. I guess like ideas for titles and thumbnails and stuff like that. And then she's pretty good with filming and everything. And then, but she's really good about is like contacting people for, collaborations and things like that. So it's been nice having her do a lot of that stuff, which is kind of taking some of the load off, which is really good. But yeah, she's experienced with all the film stuff. Let's see here, Maxime, member since September of 18. Hey, Captain Bobby, I'm curious to know how many drones do you possess and what was your gnarliest flight experience? Did you ever crash one? Are there areas in the BVI or anywhere else where you can't fly at all? Have you ever tried FPV drones? Oh, and since Christmas is approaching, what was your favorite gift you received when you were a kid? Cheers from Montreal. Gosh, yeah, I've had a lot of drones over the years. My first one was a Unique Q400 or 800 or whatever it was. I don't know. It was okay, but I mean, wasn't as good as the DJI stuff, but it was cheaper. And then the next one, I got a Phantom. I've had a couple Phantom 4s. And then I've had a Mavic 1 and a Mavic 2 and now a Mavic 3. And then I've had oh man, it was another DJI one. It was the one before the Mini. I forget what it was called, but I had whatever was the small one before the Mini. Then I've had a Mini 1, and now I have a Mini Pro 3. And I use the Mini Pro 3 a lot. It can fly for 30 minutes. It's fast, it's small, it has a good camera, all that. That being said, the Mavic 3 does have a little bit better camera, but just for the ease of use, that Mini Pro 3 is pretty great. That's what I'm currently using for most of my stuff. Although actually the stuff in the videos, it hasn't been in the videos yet. So the stuff that you're seeing, the videos that came from Thailand, that was all filmed with my Mavic 3, which I really like. It's just, I will say, I think I still have my Phantom 4. When we're sailing and underway, that's probably going to be the one you're going to see a lot when I get back on my new boat full time, because it has the big landing gear and it's easy to catch. because catching the Mavic 3 in the Mini Air is, I've nicked my fingers a few times with that because you basically got to grab it right by the base of the thing, whereas the Phantom 4 has landing gear. Have I crashed any? I mean, yeah. So the Unique, it got interference with the signal, and like I basically had no control over it. Luckily, it crashed into our own boat. I don't know how that happened. And I think there was a little bit of damage, but I never got that repaired. And then I have crashed a Phantom 4 once, but nothing happened to it. Just kind of went too close to our boat and caught a shroud, and it just hooked on itself and came down. It didn't really do any damage. I think I had to replace a blade, no big deal. And then what else? The one, though I couldn't remember the name of it, the one that's before the Mini. The version before the Mini, yeah, it was doing the follow me mode, and then it was supposed to do obstacle avoidance, and it didn't obstacle avoid a tree and crashed right into it, and it stopped working. So, but yeah, I mean, I actually have to turn the collision avoidance off on my drones if I'm flying it from the boat, which I just leave them off all the time anyway. You have to be very aware of where I'm flying because, well, I mean, if you want to catch it, you have to turn the obstacle avoidance off. Because otherwise it won't let you catch it. So that's why. Favorite gift as a kid? I don't know. I got a sunfish when I was like in 5th grade. That's when I first started sailing. Well, I mean, did I was sailing? I think I was probably already sailing in the Boy Scouts, but yeah. All right, Randall Whipple. Member since June of 22. What do you like better about the Exumas over the Avicos or vice versa? They're pretty different. So the Exumas are much more sparsely populated, so there's not nearly as many people there, but it does have prettier water and prettier beaches in my opinion. But the Abacos are nice because it's protected generally kind of like 360 because it's got like you're inside a big lagoon basically, so it can be protected from all sides, whereas it's not that big a deal like on the Exumas. Like if the wind's out of the east, you stay on the west side of the islands. If it's out of the west, you stay on the east side. But there's not as many anchorages on the east side, so you gotta kind of plan ahead. So it depends on what you want. In the Abacos, there's so many more restaurants, so many more things to do, honestly. So in the Exumas, though, like I said, it's prettier water, and there are some more unique places to go see, but you're kind of on your own most of the time because there's not many restaurants. You kind of have to do a lot of your own cooking. And then there are some pretty nice restaurants there, but they're pretty sparsely spread out. So, yeah. Whereas I think the Abacos are more compact. There's a lot more things in a smaller area. And if you want to charter from there, you can. It's a lot easier because there's a charter base there. In the Exumas, I mean, there might be a couple charter boats out of Georgetown, but most of the people that go to the Exumas, they actually get a boat in Nassau. And it's only 25 or 30 miles from Nassau to the Exumas. But, you got to make, that's the problem is that if the wind's strong out of the east, that's not really a trip you want to make. So it can kind of suck, if the weather's not good. Whereas if you want to just charter in the Abacos, like I said, it's protected all the way around. So if the wind's strong out of the east, you're still okay. So there's the pluses and minuses there. That being said, oh my gosh, the dog pooped. I took you out this morning. Hey, don't eat your poop, you big dummy. All right, well, there you go. Come here. I'm not mad at you. You just can't poop in here, okay? Well, there you go. He's a puppy. What can you do? Anyway, sorry about the interruption there. Where was I? So, if you're just going to go charter and all that, I mean, the Abacos are not bad. But if you're going to go spend a month somewhere, probably the Exumas, something like that. All right. David Haney. Member since September of 22. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch all of your channels and a privilege to support you. Thanks so much. I have 2 questions, more business oriented. First, can you discuss or disclose the current revenue level from each revenue source, sailing doodles, glamping doodles, flying doodles, between YouTube, Patreon, YouTube memberships, and endorsement deals? Well, flying doodles, I have Dakota running that now. So we just do a percentage share, so she gets a percent and I get a percent for that. I'm not going to get into specific like revenue, like how much or whatever, but it ends up being about, I'd say probably 40% from YouTube revenue, 40% from Patreon, and maybe 20% from endorsement deals, something like that is the split. It used to be a lot higher on the YouTube end, like during COVID and all that, but I think the ad rates were a lot higher then, plus then the views were up then. So yeah, that's kind of the splits there. And then yeah, Glamping Doodles is not earning really, much at all. Number one, I'm not pretty regularly posting to it. It might pay for the fuel in the RV, maybe. But yeah, I do that one more just because I kind of like doing it. And it kind of makes it easier for a tax write-off. Second, what do you hope this whole revenue stream will be if you keep up the pace in 5 years? Well, in 5 years, I would love to have all the channels kind of run by somebody else. And then, I can kick back and do nothing and still have income coming in. I think, it's hard to say. Who knows what the future is going to be. AI is going to be a big game changer eventually. Content creation with AI and all that will be very disruptive to the current. The computing power is not there yet. They can probably have I think they've even had some AI generated, video clips and maybe stuff like that, but it takes a lot of computing power to do that. That's not open to the general public yet, to have that kind of computing processor power to basically make a Sailing Doodles video from scratch with AI. Eventually that will happen. And that's going to be very disruptive, because when it becomes pretty easy to make those, they're just going to be cranking out artificial videos all the time and just flood the market with them. And then I don't know how sustainable being a content creator will be anymore. If there's already, I don't remember, but it's a pretty staggering number of minutes of footage uploaded to YouTube every day, every hour, every minute. It's like years worth of content put up every minute. It's pretty, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's a lot. And so, and that's from people sitting down and with a camera and creating their own videos and maybe planning a script out or going out on location and filming all that. But when AI can generate that in an instant and flood it with 100 times that much content, you're just going to be lost in the shuffle. And I don't know when that's going to be. It could be 10 years, something like that, but that's going to be pretty disruptive to the scene. So I really don't know. We'll see. You have to evolve and adapt as you go, right? So we'll see how it goes. That's good. That's a good question, though, because I have no idea. So we'll see. All right, Chris Trusty. Do you have a member since July of 20? Thank you. Do you have any celebrity fans of the show that you are aware of? The only one I can think of would be Matt Roloff. He's the dad on, was it Little Family, Big World, or Big World, Little Family, something like that. He emailed me one time and said he loved the show. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know if there's any other celebrities that watch Sailing Doodles. We'll see. If you are a celebrity watching Sailing Doodles, come on, let's do a collaboration. Let's do it. Chris Barnes, member since October of 18. Wow, nice long one. Can you design boat stuff or boat things? That's just things that we don't really want in the video, So we kind of keep it pretty vague. So that's when you might hear us say something we're going to do boat things. It means we're going to do stuff we don't want to hear, be on video. Aaron Bradley, have you ever thought about, and a member since December of 22, you ever thought about doing America's Great Loop? That Sea Ray would be a good boat for it. Yeah, but no. I don't think that would do very well on the video, honestly. So that's why I've never really thought about it. It'd be interesting to do, but I just don't think it would do well on video. And so that's why we haven't done it. Schmoops Adventures, that's Jen and Eric. Does the new boat, and members since December 20, does the new boat have diesel redundancy? If there's a major electrical system failure, can you turn the boat on and run diesel engine alone? Is there only one or one in each hull? So it has a diesel generator that can power the electric motors. So yeah, it can run on diesel. Plus, it's got wind, right? Um, so, uh, and then it'll be able to run as long as you got fuel. I don't remember how many gallons of fuel. I think it's something like 100 gallons or something like that. So, generator is probably going to be uh, a gallon, maybe a gallon and a half. I'm not sure exactly how much fuel. I'd have to look. I don't remember offhand. But I think I think we were able to run for like 70 something hours on the generator. So 3 full days on the generator. Daryl again says, maybe I missed you answering this question before. Your new boat will be all electric. Are you concerned at all about lightning strikes? The electric equipment, I saw several boats struggle with this, and after their electronics were fried. Yes, so I am having, I can't remember the name of the system. They're going to be a sponsor. It's a electrical. They say it's not a Faraday cage, but it's something else. I don't really know how okay, so it's a system that grounds the boat. So it kind of makes like a metal cage around the boat. So it's got, I think it actually uses the stays, and it creates kind of like a shroud around the boat. So it's got a thing up there. So it sends all the, if lightning were to strike, it sends it through those, like the spreaders and all that, which attach to certain points on the hull, which then are grounded into the water through certain other things. It's like a proprietary thing. I'm not exactly sure at all how it works, but I'm sure I will eventually when they install it. But yeah, that's going to be a thing. They're putting that on a lot of the like sunreefs and stuff like that because I've seen some boats just get fried electrical, and then it's done. I mean, you got to replace all the wiring in there. So yeah, I think that I can't remember the name of the system right now, but they want to put that on my boat, and then that should help protect it. And any boat that they put that system on, I believe, has not been hit by lightning. It's not and I think it's more of it's not like a guide. Okay, maybe I misspoke on that. I don't think it like takes the lightning bolt and like redirects the force, the electrical force through everything to the water. I think what it does is it grounds the boat or whatever so that it's electrically neutral, so it's not a big target for electricity. So I think it's a lot less likely to get struck by lightning in the first place. I think that's how it works. I could be wrong on that. What are you crying about? You want to go down on the ground so you can poop again? I really let you out this morning, and he peed and pooped. That was great. I was like, hey, good boy. And then he comes here and does it again. Just don't pee on anything, okay? All right. Let's see. Stick. So, remember since July of 19. Hey, Bobby, saw you enjoying your stogie. Was that a Cuban? What's your go-to? How do you keep them on the boat? Special C humidifier. No. So it was a My Father cigar, which it's kind of my go-to brand. I like them. They have a bunch. They're pretty good quality. I want to say Nicaragua is where they're from, but they could be Dominican. I'm not sure, but they're good quality. And I just normally buy a box at a time. So you get the wooden box, and they're individually wrapped in plastic tills. So I really just kind of that's yeah. I mean, okay, if I was going to keep them for years at a time or something, or a long time, maybe they would need a proper humidifier, but I haven't worried about it. All right, Tim Taylor, a brand new member. Thank you for joining. Hi from Fort Worth. Been watching since day one with keen interest. Although our reasons are different, I too left a corporate job to begin another adventure. It can be a leap of faith and hard work to make something like this successful, and I'm curious to see which is the future direction of the channel and other endeavors. I appreciate all the work that you do behind the scenes bringing great content. Well, thank you so much, Tim. Thanks for becoming a patron, and good luck to you with your new adventure as well. All right. Stefan, member since April of 22. Do you have a name for the new boat? Yeah, I'm going to name it Maverick, after Maverick and Goose, my dogs. And then, unfortunately, Goose gets second billing. He'll be we'll name the dinghy Goose. So, anyway. No, sorry, Matt, or sorry, Goose. Okay, Glenn Goodall again. Dakota often referred to both things with laugh. Yeah, we kind of got into that already. So, all right, Danny Hey, Bobby, you mentioned in passing your desire to retire in Thailand around 8 by 50. Ever think about doing a series while you wait on the boat to be finished where you retire for a month in different countries? Well, and then do the show and actual costs and potential pros and cons might be. Maybe that's something I do. Hey, quick chewing on the carpet. Maybe that's something I do later on, like post-sailing doodles. I don't know. But no, I haven't thought about doing that. I don't really have time to do all that right now. We're so busy. We have so much travel coming up. We're all over the place. So don't really, don't really have time for that right now. Quit chewing on the carpet. Jason Colbreth, member since November of 20. What clip-on mic do you use best? I see that you've been using a new, or at least new to me, camera on the pile, and I was wondering which one it was and how do you rate it? Well, like I said, this is the brand new Osmo 3 and the DJI Mic 2. I also have the DJI Mic system, which is very similar to this, that can plug into another camera. They work great. It's just the ease of use. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. So the DJI stuff is what I've been doing. I have had the Rode mic system in the past, but the DJI mic stuff, the carry case automatically charges things, it automatically connects. It's really great. That's what I've been using, so I like it a lot. Quit chewing on the carpet. Hey, come here. Come here. All right, sorry, pick him back up. He normally doesn't get to stay in this area because the Christmas tree is over here, and so he's blocked off, but because I wanted him in here, yeah. So anyway, all right, last question here. Jeff Temburin, member since May of 21. Do you have itinerary for the BVI yet? We've had a trip planned there for a while, and it happens to be when the flotilla's good. I'd love to meet you guys, and yeah, buy a drink. Sure. So yeah, I mean, I think the 29th we get on the boats, and we'll go straight to Norman Island and to like Willie T's there, and people can either do Willie T's for dinner or head over to the Pirate's Bite for dinner there, or just eat on the boat. I think we're going to plan to eat on the boat, and then maybe do happy hour or drinks later at Willie T's. And then the next day, get up and go snorkel at the Indians, and then head over to Cooper Island, and then do Cooper Island for dinner. Then the next day, get up and head to the baths at Virgin Gorda, do that for lunch area, and then over to either Sabre Rock or the Bitter End Yacht Club for dinner. Probably the Bitter End Yacht Club because we did Sabre Rock last time. And then from there, weather permitting, go to Anegada and do dinner there. It's about a 25-mile run, something like that. So that'll be an all-day sail. And then spend the night there. And then from there back down to probably Cane Garden Bay. And there's a bunch of beach restaurants, and there's a nice beach to hang out on, and then go to dinner somewhere there. And then after that, Joost Van Dyke, head over to White Bay for the day in front of Soggy Dollar, and then move over to Great Harbor that evening for dinner at Foxy's. And then I believe that is the last night at that point, and go back down to Norman Island, do dinner at the Pirate's Bite, or maybe we go over to Peter Island instead if some people would like to do that. And then you got to be back at the marina the next day. So that's kind of the schedule. All right, guys. Well, it's been a good time chatting with you guys. Hopefully Murphy's not been too distracting for you, but he's a really, really sweet boy. He slept with me last night. He's good. Except he pooped this morning, didn't you? Yeah, but I already walked you, wouldn't you? Anyway. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please click that like and subscribe button. And if you would like your questions answered in the next podcast, become a patron or a channel member. And you know what? We'll answer your questions on the next one. So, all right, guys, you have a good one, and we'll see you on the next video.